on, what was the other one? We said Amaterasu?
Amaterasu, yeah.
And Terra. So it's not like the overly aggressive style that we've seen out of Trix in the past. He's gone for more of a support the team.
Like the Geb. The Geb isn't. The Geb
That's
isn't
not
him.
Trix, is it?
Someone else had that mouse and keyboard in the picks and bans. No way he picked that.
Obey Alliance and Team Dignitas. Game 5 has gone the distance. Just a matter of who's going to be able to end up on top. It is Dignitas in that second pick position. So we can just pack it up. We can go home.
I actually think it's only Arkell in this set. I'm trying to really go through rack my brain. I think it's only Arkell that's not been in the best of 5 before. So a lot of extra pressure onto him to realize how deep he can go in terms of, you know, playing consistently at this high level without letting it get to you a little bit.
I think he'll be completely fine as long as he doesn't get pressured too hard, because it's just when you're pressured, it's such a hard play style, and especially with this meta.
Sure.
Kernanos and Terra, the first 2 bans, obeying that first pick selection, but don't really want to take the Kern for themselves. Also want to keep it out of the hands of Arkell, though, even despite getting soloed in lane there by Ataraxia. By the way, Arkell said he was going to solo Ataraxia twice, but he's been the one. He's been soloed twice.
2-1. 2-1 right now into game 5. It could be 2-2, 3-2, you never know. Maybe even up by the end of this. I don't think Obey will ban Circuit here, but the question is, will Dignitas ban Circuit? Because we've seen that Dignitas don't want Obey to have it.
Yeah, Dig have to, because
they have to, right?
Then there'll be two circuits.
Ooh,
with the Morrigan.
Raven ban here, an adaptation by Obey.
So this is Obey realizing, I think, that Dignitas know that Raven and Osiris together is going to be too much to deal with, and they may look for it themselves, so why not just ban that so it can't happen?
I feel like they're completely changing the picks and bans from the first pick, you know, because it isn't working in the previous game, so why not change it up? And now they've got first pick Fafnir, that does not look good. But they were guaranteed that as well.
Yeah, this draft from Obey was expertly crafted just in terms of the bans alone. Love the adaptation by Hazer and the boys. And they get Fafnir for Emilzy. Now Dignitas has their chance to respond. The early picks that we've seen, a lot of them banned away. Kernanos banned.
Has to be Osiris now.
Has to be Osiris,
You have
right?
to take it away from him.
I don't think Variety is Osiris on the same level as Maniacs. I think Variety's got like other gods that he can go to, but I just don't think Osiris is not one that goes, oh yes, that's definitely Variety.
But you have to remember, you're taking it away from him.
Of course.
That is the main purpose.
That's
but
true.
he can also play. I've seen him play. He's a good player.
He's definitely a good player. I mean, Variety, we've seen him grow over the years, so we know he's solid enough. I like the Ho Yi pick with Kernanos off the table. Give that to Arkell.
I think that's still good because Bologna is still on the table, but they have to play it. They have to now. They can't just... They've made a mistake. I think it's 3 times now.
Yeah.
They can't make it fourth.
Qvio on that Nemesis and Arkell on the Hu Yi. Now Obey has a couple options. Osiris is the one that we're all expecting. They have never, every game this series where they've had the opportunity, they've picked it before that second ban phase. And that's been every single game. No reason to change it up now.
And if Obey go for Osiris here, I want to see Dig instantly lock Bologna in. Like, there's no reason to reveal any more of what they're going to play. Like, just take the Bologna straight away before the counter ban phase, because I expect Obey will ban it otherwise.
Do you know what would be amazing now?
Go on.
Bologna jungle.
For Dig?
No, for
Obey.
I guess Humbats is still fine, but that would be because I know Twig does play that sort of card.
Tell you what though, that Humbats pick kind of screams to me that we may see Prime go for that Morrigan.
I'm right there with you. Dignitas has the option to ban it here though, but it does make them choose between doubling down on banning out Ataraxia or trying to split it between the Hunter and the mid laner.
Do you know what Humbats is good against as well? Kepri.
But it is going to be the Bologna.
They had no choice.
Yeah, but now they don't even need to ban the.
So they banned the Nox, which I can kind of understand. Nox made a big impact in that game in a lot of ways. They probably felt that in their head more than anything else because they were like, oh, we lost that team fight because Nox.
Right.
But I think they also need to realize Morrigan is available as well. And I think with the Humbats on board, it's a bit
double
dangerous.
Humbats. They do like that sort of play style.
The problem with that is that gives Ataraxia ROM again. And Ataraxia has just looked so good on the character. I'm very surprised he's been able to get it every time.
I think if I'm coaching, though, if I'm Biggie right now, I'm like, listen, let's give him Rama, because I think Arkell's Ho Yi is good enough to deal with Rama. I think that is an equal matchup. Ataraxia's Rama versus Arkell, I don't think, if you put him in the lane over and over again, I think it'll go 50-50.
Yeah, I honestly think they should have banned the Morrigan and... I can't even remember the other ban they should have done. The Rama for sure.
Amaterasu going to be Obey's ban, looking at both the solo, well, rather the support. There it is, the Morrigan banned away.
I'm glad they noticed that. That would have been really painful to watch.
Biggie coming up, well, large, you could say. One more ban here for Obey. They've got a couple options looking at Trix Tank or the mid laner Zeros. Could be Soul. That's been the one they've tried to keep out of his hands more than anything else.
I'm going to go out there a little bit for this one. Dignitas, I'm thinking like a Nike wouldn't be too bad for them here. The disarm is actually going to be really impactful for this Nike. Can be played in the support role as well. Something that Trix can be a little bit more aggressive on. Plus those passives. That's one of the reasons Amaterasu has been taken out by Obey here, is because of the mobility that it also brings to these team fights.
Nike support?
Nike support.
Just
the disarm against Osiris
I think Fafnir will body it though.
That's true.
Especially with Arama.
You get the chance to interrupt that Randon lane. That's the big one.
I'm looking further away from the laning phase and more towards the team fights, where that passive will come into play as well, the extra mobility.
Yeah, when does this meta get past the laning phase?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
One more
ban.
ban.
Yeah, I definitely understand your point though.
One more ban waiting, and it is going to be the Soul there, so Zero is not going to be able to play that Norse Mage. Dignitas has the first pick coming out of the second ban phase. Still need their support and their mid laner, most likely. I don't think Hui's going to anyone but Arkle. It's going to be the Thoth, which has been picked multiple times by both mid laners here this weekend. This time it's going to be Zeros piloting it for Dignitas.
Not so sure we're going to see out of Obey now, because the mid lane is still flexible enough for Prime to pull anything out here. Vulcan's available for him, but Vulcan, it's not the greatest team comp for a Vulcan to go against. Let's put it that way.
How does Vulcan do against Nemesis?
Not very well.
He'll just use a shield and then beats the meatball, and yeah, see you later.
You just get ruined by her. No way to get away from those slows. Bellona as well. Scylla wouldn't be bad here, though you're losing a little bit of early game pressure with a pick like that in mid.
If I'm in game 5 right now, yeah, and things are about to go down in a game 5, I want some late game somewhere.
Oh, it was a Vulcan.
It is going to be Prime's Vulcan sticking to his guns.
Vulcan is pretty good late game as well. Like those are
especially pretty Primes.
Especially pretty Primes. I mean, he could have gone for the Scylla, which is the same sort of style, because Dignitas have that Toth for the late game scenario here. And we'll see what Dignitas draft for their support potentially role. He's got to be a support here, obviously.
Could use some extra early game. Both Nemesis and Thoth struggle a little bit in the early laning phases. That's so important right now. We haven't seen Sylvanas at all, but it'd be a pretty risky pick.
I was going to say Sobek.
First time Trixtank's been an aggressive god there.
Against Bats, though. If he gets CC'd, then...
That's true.
Rip Worlds.
True. Oh, man. Game 5, guys. It's all come down to this. Who do you have, Raffer?
I'm not answering this.
The entire reason you're up here is to answer one question, and it's who's going to win this game.
It's going to be Obey.
Obey? Hindu?
I'm not going to answer this because the only reason I'm up here is to make this segment work.
I can't yell at him, he's my boss, but I can tell Tom and Toli to take the cast away. Game 5, Smite Masters champion. Someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. Tom and Toli, it's all you.
Someone will win and someone will lose. Hey, Toli, who's going to win?
You can't pay me enough to tell you that answer. We can show you, though, that answer as we're going to head into this last final game between Dignitas and Obey Alliance, 2-2 tied. Last pick, Bacchus.
Yeah, this one's for all the marbles. Coming down to the last game in the 5-game series. I was talking to one of the guys from Obey, and this is just a reset. It's the best of one. This win is what makes it count. And I love the draft from Obey Alliance. They've been getting beat by Khepri all day. Trixtank's Khepri has been rocking it. Now, Captain Twigs, Thanatos, not really something that we know of, but it's Hoodbats we know about, and Hoodbats shuts down Khepri just as well. Like Toli said, I ain't gonna guess, but I can show you who will win Smite Masters. And we'll get right into the game. Team Dignitas on your right-hand side, Obey on your left, Pretty Prime, Signature Vulcan, Maniac on the character that he has made a name for himself this year. Osiris, Cuvo Fred playing the Nemesis one more time, and Zeros on the Thoth that he has been so successful on.
But it's Trixtank on this Bacchus. You have this Nemesis Bacchus Thoth combination here coming out of Dignitas, and this is the old staple kind of 3v3 between your mid jungle support, where they have this kind of bursty combination. It was before in Season 3 the Raijin instead of the Thoth, but still can easily work with that final judgment.
Arkle getting a couple of pot shots onto Emilzy here. Nice stun on the Trixtank, however, and the Bacchus has a little bit of trouble. Minions haven't even spawned yet. This duo lane really wants to go at it. Half HP for the support on the side of Dignitas. Emilzy, same condition. Arkle down to about 90%. Is that Araxia relatively untouched? Mid lane also damage being dealt out. Arkle very low. Trixtank forced to use the meditation nice and early. 36 seconds on the clock, and we already have a ton of damage.
And Milzy having to use nothing in conjunction to Trixtank that popped that meditation, and that gives a huge advantage. Not only that, the relic was used from Arkle. He used his purification beast just to negate some of the effects.
Trixtank goes
back in. Now, to be fair, he has a wave right beside him. There's no way Milzy and Ataraxia can still hold on to this pressure, and that's going to give them this next important wave to be able to push this one out and then look for an objective steal.
Team Dignitas going to go ahead and relinquish control of the lane, just looking for the jungle camps instead. The pings coming out as the rotation from Obey is made note of, but really Obey is just heading into the own jungle.
They got their own little elemental or little ogre minions to be able to hit level 2 as they go to the wave, but sacrificing some gold onto that tier 1 tower. Obey Alliance doing a good job pressuring the dual lane, a decent amount of job pressuring the mid lane to allow this kind of rotation coming from Captain Twig to assist the blue buff.
Jump forward from Trix, but this time he's going to be the one controlled. He's stunned out as well. Meditation's still on cooldown, so he doesn't have that option, unlike the guys on Obey who pop it just now.
Finding the meditation on the side of a Milzy. There's a big gap now between these two meditations, specifically 70 seconds or so between the two. So having to recognize this, Trixtank could look to play aggressive once his meditation is back up and available, and then capitalizing on that for that cooldown.
Team Dignitas will have the vision near the Gold Fury. Unless Pretty Prime gets a backfire right here. Beat Ball is good enough, and that'll split up the vision. So Oracles do not go the way of any team in particular. Nice play coming out from Pretty Prime to deny that vision from Dig.
Playing his staple Vulcan skin, the Titan skin. The god that he's known for, the team that he's known for with Ataraxia. Second place in the first year's world, second place in the third year's world.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes down to it, Allied will always and forever be the people's Vulcan, but Pretty Prime is the Vulking. Absolutely, he has shown us that many times that the Forge Master Vulcan can come out and just run games from long distance and even up close thanks to the meatball and the backfire. Pretty Prime, one of the premier players on this Vulcan, even when he wasn't really welcome in the meta. Certainly going to do things now that he's a little bit more prevalent.
Another meditation was used by Trixtank, trying to stay in the laning phase as long as possible, not wanting for Arco to get bullied out here to have to go back to the base, making sure no more minions will enter that tower to deny them that more important, valuable farm. And with that opportunity, Obey Alliance are going to use it to back on out, leave Ataraxia alone, considering he has the red buff, so the 1v1 boxing potential will help out this ROM, especially hitting level 5 first.
Well, we'll see how he continues, but right now the level 5 is just momentary. I'm just going to abandon that one. I can't really figure out that word, so we're going to abandon all hope. The way some of these teams have abandoned their region. Shouts to North America. The Health Chalice on Arkle. Interesting choice here. It's going to allow him to stay relevant as far as the boxing match is concerned with Ataraxia. And that's a very cool example of how we've seen this set really mature. I think coming into this, we did not see Arkle opt for that option and instead just went regular potions and kind of just forewent any real lifesteal, as you noted earlier in the set. But as Team Dignitas, or more importantly, Obey's Hunter Ataraxia, has taken the fights more and more, Arkle realizes, hey, maybe I need some help here, and he goes the way of the Chalice. And Arkle, he's already soloed Nate once. I think he's looking for number 2.
He's been doing it all throughout this tournament, this Health Chalice pickup for Arkle. He loves to play aggressive.
Right.
You know, this 300 gold investment, as long as you use this Health Chalice 6 times total, you're basically getting a new net worth value. Anything after that is just going to be a net gain. Captain Twig in a lot of trouble, forced to jump away, but Arkle dives on in, using the Suns, forcing the Purification Beads, but he might be the one in trouble.
Backfire gets the first blood. QO Fred answers back, but the hot plays at a Pretty Prime. Oh boy, Obey. They're the ones first on the board. 5 minutes in, tie game here, but a highlight play from Pretty Prime.
Just absolutely out of control is this Vulcan, always in the right place at the right time, finding the important backfire play. And then remember that triple kill that he did. Yeah, oh man.
It's so much fun watching this Vulcan. So much fun. Dignitas able to confirm the bananas to get the vision on the Gold Fury. And they're the ones that are going to still trail by a couple hundred gold.
I'm just thinking of the set of Obey Alliance versus Energy 2 days ago, actually, in that best of 3 set, where Pretty Prime was around his speed buff, adapting was so low he had to jump over the wall. He backfires for the kill on adapting, throws the Vulcan ult over that speed buff. Finding a triple kill at the end there was just so important for Obey Alliance to finally find the victory over Energy.
Yeah, they won off of that. Just goes to show you that the character is multifaceted, and so is Pretty Prime. And he winds up even getting a follow-up kill with the meatball later on in that same exchange, allowing his team to win the game.
Smart pickup by Pretty Prime as well, picking up this Aegis at level 1, recognizing that the CCs on the side of Team Dignitas is avoidable.
Yeah.
You can backfire away from the belly flop in time, and Zeros is going to have to commit to that aggressive dash if he's going to be looking for that stun.
There's going to be a jump in from Emilzy, but he misses the stun after the fact. So, no follow-up from Captain Twig. I think we would have saw the jump into the ultimate, had that stun connected from Emilzy, looking for the pick on the mid lane, but no hit confirmed, so no combo after.
A little more riskier, though, for Zeros to go for the Aegis Amulet, considering that Captain Twig with that Fear No Evil.
Yeah.
One good timed ultimate right against the wall for that full duration can easily spill the doom of Zeros.
When it comes to characters like Vulcan and Poseidon, they're the ones that I want to buy Aegis before, but a lot of times I'm not allowed to because you got to build the beads because of characters like Hun Pats. So this becomes a very interesting conversation about, you know, where are you going to be more local to? Zero's expecting to get more in trouble from Pretty Prime than Captain Twig.
More than likely that's going to be the case, having to worry about that meatball backfire combination. If the dash is down from Zeros, he's going to be a sitting duck, so has to be very mindful about his positioning for this game, rotating alongside Cubo Fred, his jungler.
Pretty Prime here as he's going the Doom Orb again. Still needs to find those stacks. Captain Twig here on the right side, looking for Variety. I don't think Variety saw him there, but still, Mr. Captain Twig not looking for the gank just yet.
Definitely saw him walking over that red ward from Team Dignitas, just resetting some of the vision, looking at the speed buff, knows when that's going to be available now off of that buff icon reset. Regrouping with the rest of his teammates in the mid lane, and I like the thought process here between both of these junglers. We see Captain Twig trying to gank the right, Cuba Fred trying to assist out Arkell on the left-hand side, and now they're regrouped on the left side mids.
There's going to be a little bit of damage. Those mids go the way of, looks like Obey got at least one. But now these Gold Fury Goblins are here and will be started up by Obey. Zeros is here as well to provide some damage, and it looks like they're going to go the way of Obey. Not able to get that small objective is Team Dignitas, and so teams are still tied neck and neck.
Very marginal advantage for Obey Alliance, just controlling some of the vision around the Gold Fury. Both of these teams have been looking for these early objectives earlier on in the set, but then games 3 and 4 kind of slowed down a little bit. Heading into this 5th game, though, we're tied at 1-1 apiece. There's just no real advantage for either side. This is truly a best-of-1 set between two evenly matched teams.
Yeah, exactly, and both of these guys want to play careful. Don't want to get too excited because, as we've mentioned a whole bunch, that this is the last one. There's the ultimate out of the monkey, but it's just enough to send Cubo Fred in a different direction. Likely no kills off of this, as Pretty Prime's rotation is interrupted by Tricksteady.
Cubo Fred used his double dash, which sparked the engage from Captain Twig to use that Fear No Evil. Purification Beads was expended, but Maniac misses his 1-2 combo, so he couldn't really chase the kill to look for that Lord of the Afterlife. So getting away scot-free, Cubo Fred, very thankful for that.
Yeah, and like I said, Pretty Prime started to make his rotation, and as a Vulcan, it's similar to a ROM, excuse me, how you only have to make half of that rotation because of the long-range ultimate, but he got caught up with Trickstank in the jungle, so not even able to make it halfway there.
You know, cool guys don't look at explosions, and Pretty Prime can easily throw that ultimate over the wall and then just start rotating back to the mid lane if he's feeling very confident in himself. Variety, though, taking a lot of poke against Maniacs. Cyrus, when was the last time we heard that one?
Yeah, I mean, 10 minutes ago. Maniac has had the luxury of playing this all day. Dignitas finally banned out a ROM. Actually, I think it was Obey that banned the ROM themselves, but or the Robin, excuse me.
Yeah, Obey banned out the Robin in the first stages of the picks and bans.
They've had the combo all day, finally deciding that they didn't want to take that one into the matchup here.
And it only works with the combination. You have a Robin jungle without the pressure in the solo lane. You're not really utilizing that jungle control. So instead, going for the Fafnir first pick for Emilzy is a good idea, considering that Ataraxia playing this ROM is really looking for those hard-hitting in-hands, which is also good considering he's going for the Transcendence, getting a huge boost in the physical power spike. So once he maxes out his steroid, once Emilzy maxes out out is coerced, that Rama is just going to melt these objectives.
A little bit of trouble as Emilzy gets aggressive and won't be able to invade into the enemy red buff, but Dignitas able to send him out, no problem. Not too big of a concern for the young support.
Fred just barely avoiding that meatball. Gold Fury still not being looked at by either team quite yet, but right as I say that, Obey Alliance pull it with Maniac making the teleport, zoning out. It's all a bait because Trickstank is at half health. This Bacchus, if he belly flops in, he will be deleted.
I don't think that's going to be his thought process just yet. He's got to play this one careful, and he knows it. Variety on the back end is going to get collapsed on. He TP'd in. There's a shot out of the mid lane, and he's out of there. Pretty Prime with the long-range shot. Vulcan making it count. Emilzy takes care of Arkle in the back line, and Team Dignitas just watch as there are two outside laners fall to the wayside, and Obey take the Gold Fury as well. 12 minutes on the clock, and that's a 2,000 gold lead for Obey Alliance.
Oh, Team Dignitas, they only had 1.5 tanks for that engagement. Trickstank was just poked out too much before that even happened.
That wasn't even a fight.
There was no fight. Variety got caught out of position. He had to use that Eagles Rally defensively over the left side mid-harpies, but he got chased down by Maniac and then the long-range Earth Shatter by Pretty Prime, and he definitely didn't look at that explosion.
Team Dignitas are able to steal this one thanks to Trickstank's Intoxicate. Obey lose the Portal Demon, but they win the previous fight. Hand over fist. Dignitas now trying to file in, shoving Obey underneath the tower. They'll take the jungle.
2,000 gold behind. Team Dignitas managing to steal away that objective, not allowing Obey Alliance to get any extra snowball in. Ataraxia, though, in the mid lane. Has to be careful considering that Toth is on the right, Huyi's on the left, and then the rotation here, Arco looking to try to steal it away, but Captain Twig surely won't let him.
Well, I mean, he's got the triple bounce, but Captain Twig actually won't let him. Nice little overhand smash and the slow from the jump. Couple more basics can do it, but right side, too much of a party going on. Oh, Captain Twig, he slowed him down. Arkle stopped. Arkle, why did you stop? Captain Twig takes him out. Zeros his rotation way too late. Arkle, my friend, had he just walked back to the tower, that's a safe hunter. Arkle turned around trying to make a highlight play, and he turns into one himself. Captain Twig drops the ultimate and drops the hunter.
All he had to do was just keep walking to the
press
tower
W
and use that Aegis. Once he hears the Fear No Evil come out and turn in a land setting, you can react to that ultimate ability much easier. And with that one easy pick, 5-on-4 advantage for another 5 seconds. Tier 1 tower on the right-hand side being aggressed on, Balone on Variety. Not doing too much work this game, struggling right now as he's still working on this Mystical Mail.
Variety gonna get hit, jumps up and down. Nice play, reading the ultimate out of Pretty Prime. That was wonderful. Variety jumps, and as soon as, in the moment, he does exactly what Arkle needed to do. He uses the sound cue to change his play style. He wants to ult, realizes if he ults forward, that's where he's getting shot, so he ults up and down. You gotta use your headphones. You gotta listen to these sound cues, guys.
The stun is just so impactful from Variety also because it stops the Tier 1 tower dive coming out of Obey Alliance. Not able to find anything on the right side of the map despite getting that earlier Gold Fury objective on the left. Still looking for ways to extend their advantage. Captain Twig has been looking very confident thus far on the Hun Bats, making that one kill and looking for more plays to set up Pretty Prime.
I'm glad this is the closest game that we've had all day, because it's the one that absolutely matters. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all blowouts. And then the one that matters, we get a nice tight race. Thank you. I'm down. This is what I want. This is what I root for. Nice, tight matches. 2,000 gold in the lead is Obey Alliance, and this is absolutely something Dig can fight into.
This is what we live for, Tom. Another gank from Captain Twig, forcing out the Purification Beads from Zero. Still has the Aegis Amulet to be defensive. Cuba Fred stunned out of his first dash. Not too much for Obey Alliance to really take advantage of, but up until Ataraxia is thinking about committing to that Tier 1 tower.
Dignitas right here need to find the small victories that masked their larger leads in the earlier games. Right now, I'd like to see them just take a couple of, find a pick, transition it into a jungle camp, and leave. Find a pick, jungle camp, leave.
Millsy stunning out Trickstank, belly flopping away safely. Maniac can easily tower dive this, sitting at level 13 with that mystical mail finish, having a lot of health and protections. Not to mention Emilzy can easily be that buffer zone as well. We're seeing left-hand side, though, Ataraxia against Arkel. This is the matchup that we want to see.
Wonderful play out of Ataraxia, baiting out that time frame. Ataraxia goes into the jungle, gets hit with the mark, immediately leaves, knowing that he can't fight the Hou Yi in those small hallways. Gets hit by the mark of the crow, and you see, he doesn't even waste time sidestepping. He just turns his mouse, knowing that he doesn't even want to fight this until Mark of the Crow falls down. As soon as Mark of the Crow falls off, he presses the steroid, he's ready to box. At that point, Arkel knows how that one goes, and he's going to wait out the steroid, and he jumps away. Two very intelligent hunters with an understanding of each opponent's abilities, making the right choices.
Twig in a lot of trouble, forced to use that ultimate defensively, but Variety jumps over it, diving at his Cubo Fred. Over the wall is Trickstank, trying to find something through the Fire Giant pit. Zero's not able to connect. Captain Twig buying time. Pretty Prime saving his life.
Houdini plays out on Captain Twig. There's going to be help from Pretty Prime. 3-man knockup. Launches the ultimate. Not going to find a home this time around. Zeros, however, does. Not enough damage. Full stacked passive from Maniac. Captain Twig, you better buy your mid laner dinner, win or lose.
There's so many members here from Team Dignitas, all 5 to be exact, and that tier 1 tower doesn't stand a chance.
It's
just
still
Obey
there.
Alliance were too low to really stay in that team fight. The ultimate from Pretty Prime was just not on the mark. There wasn't enough follow-up either way. That ultimate from Captain Twig having to be used defensively because of the silly, I would say rather curious rotational path.
That's the play. Remember I said I want to see the smaller plays come out from Dig? That's the smaller play. They kind of lose the team fight, but I guess it's all good. They get the tower, they walk away. Want to see more of that of the Dig to keep this game in arm's length. Arkel drops the Suns, and it's going to control a little bit of the space, more importantly than the team fight. That's what he was looking for. I don't want anybody making fun of him for missing that ult. That's a zoning ult. That ult, however, is all about devastation. Captain Twig drops the totems and drops the solo laner. Ataraxia from the sky. Blap, blap. Not enough, but that is one dead Cubo Fred, unless he gets stunned out. Great play from the mid lane.
The speed buff from Cubo Fred gets him out of danger, but it's not going to be the same case for Zeros. Forced into the Purification Beast, but he's going to go down. Captain Twig still getting chased down, jumps away. He actually baited out Trickstank. He has no belly flop. 3rd dead member. Dignitas on the worst end of this one.
Obey screaming right now from across the arena. Zeros dies, saving his jungler Cubo Fred. Cubo is dead unless Zeros finds that stun. Zeros finds the stun, and Obey finds Zeros. Toli, trading your mid Thoth for your jungle Nemesis, how do you feel about it?
It was just too much of a bait from Maniac. It was a great play as he dove the backline, baited so many cooldowns to allow Captain Twig to blink and fear no evil, and then the rest was just history as Obey Alliance really punished Dignitas overcommitting onto the Broken God.
Nice jump forward from Variety and the returning ultimate from Captain Twig. At the end of the day, I think that Fear No Evil is a little bit more important than the Roma Invicta, so I'll give that win to Team Dignitas.
Sure, but the cooldowns from Twig is going to be shorter than the cooldowns from Variety. Having both Jotun's Wrath
30%.
and that Hydra's Lament will just significantly reduce it compared to Varieties that just stagnate with that 0% CDR.
And we'll see how it affects the next team fight. Captain Twig already almost halfway back with that ultimate. Jumping forward is going to be Emilzy. Keep Zeros underneath the tower. Tier 2 tower. Down about half HP, but the ultimate out of QL Fred onto Captain Twig, and he's already gone. Maniac trying to attract the attention of the enemy team. Not going to be successfully in that attempt, but here comes everything else. Double knockup out of the mid lane, Pretty Prime. Meditation used out by Team Dignitas. They still have a shell available, and they're going to press forward.
Ataraxia getting hit by that evade and punish. Zero's doing a good job dashing in aggressively without having too much to worry about, considering Captain Twig is still dead for 20 seconds, not having that Fear No Evil to be used in that little skirmish, giving Dignitas that 5-on-4.
Here's Maniac stunned out, jumping forward to Trickstank, finding Emilzy. Damage through the window from the Thoth player, not going to be too impactful, but the Suns are dropped down. That's a big play. Raxia in the sky.
He's in trouble. He got hit by the final judgment. Amulet and the Eagles Rally meditation being used. The Aegis Amulet, Zero's taking out the other mid laner, Pretty Prime, taking a spill. Another victim for Obey Alliance going back to the Gold Fury.
This is the play that needs to happen. Team Dignitas take this win. Emil's in trouble, and this is going to lead to a Gold Fury. Obey are here, though. Gold Fury about 40%, finally leashed.
Captain Twig is here with Maniac using the Fear No Evil. Zero's taking a lot of damage, forced to go in the Purification Beast around the corner. Variety is there waiting for Captain Twig. Yet again, just reviving. And look at this, Trixig saving the life of his Hunter Arkell as Maniac was thinking of diving that.
Uh-oh, here's the shots out of Zeros, plus the ultimate out of Hugo Fred. Maniac was once tanky, and now he will be dead. Team Dignitas, piece by piece, fighting their way back into this.
Just one by one, like sheeps to the slaughter. It's just no possible chance that Obey Alliance can win it the way they're being playing this last team fight, trying to stop the Gold Fury, but not allowing the Gold Fury to be low enough before engaging, and then just separating themselves too far out. Variety was still behind the Gold Fury, cutting off the path completely from Captain Twig, and then Maniac was just way out in space trying to chase out Arkell.
I mean, that's sort of the job of the solo laner, but at some point, zoning becomes roaming. And that's when you just sort of fall down. You got to be close enough to your team that you can fall back and keep everybody out. Here's the Gold Fury. Here's the Gold Fury. Team Dignitas get it despite the interruption from the guys on Obey Alliance. Emil's going to pop the transformation, and Ataraxia takes to the sky. One shot's good, and it's all he'll get for all three. The Hunter not going to make an impact right there. Level 19 on this ROM. He's 1-0-3, but Pretty Prime has been the focal point for Obey for my money.
Absolutely, but that last engagement, Zeros did a good job shutting down the Volking. Not able to really find too much use in that last team fight. Ataraxia, though, he's been struggling a little bit. Despite being 1-0-3, he couldn't get in the right position to find the damage that he really needs to, just on the lower end of the player damage charts.
Yeah, right now, though, Team Dignitas have essentially tied this game up. 1,500 gold separates our teams at 23 minutes out of totally. One, I think that's one of the closer matches that we've seen all weekend. And two, the difference between 1,500 at this moment in time, not really that big of a deal. I think for argument's sake, to have some sort of barometer, you say that Obey are in the lead, but for all intents and purposes, this is a tie game.
Absolutely. This little lead that Obey has at the 23-minute mark is just insignificant. Portal Demon's about to respawn any second now. That's going to be the next contested objective, with Gold Fury still down for another 3.5 minutes. These items are really starting to come online for both teams. Now working on the Titan's main is Captain Twig. It's going to be a huge amount of percent penetration, whereas Pretty Prime, it's going to be a lot of damage once he finishes off that Rada Tahuti.
Yeah, I mean, Pretty Prime right now. I love the build path that Prime has gone. Doom Orb, huge power bank. He's going to get a lot of bang for his buck. Obviously, boots. And then he goes the Obsidian Shard route for the penetration, knowing that he wants to kill people with one shot. Obsidian Shard providing that sort of penetration for him. Pretty Prime, absolutely love it. Next item, likely to be that Rada Tahuti. This is exactly the way that he wants to build his Vulcan. He's loved this Doom Orb all weekend long. It's worked out fantastically for him. Right now, number 4 on the player damage charts, and as we get later, it's going to go higher.
But right above him is his opposition. Zero's having a little bit more damage on the player charts. He's also gone for the Doom Orb. Instead of going for the Rada Tahuti path, getting a little bit of earlier damage by getting that Dynasty Plate Helmet, getting more survivability. This is a great bridge gap item in order to survive against junglers.
Jump forward. It's going to be Trixig looking for the team fight. Variety now about 60% HP thanks to the poke coming out from the guys on Obey. Right now, Obey have a little bit of a lead. Tully, who do you want to listen to?
Let's listen to Obey.
Let's listen to Obey as they fight Dig.
Hello.
I'm gonna go speed real quick.
Got that.
Then I'm gonna look. Oh really? We kind of just run at them here.
Yeah, I think we might.
I kind of need to back
Yeah, we should.
I'm gonna back in TP. I'm gonna back in TP.
Okay.
Below us,
Back TP. Back TP. They're on it. They're on it. They're on it. They dropped it. Shit. I'm coming.
They know
you're back.
They know you're backing in.
It's like 80.
Okay, so they reset. They reset.
Let's try now. Push mid, guys. Like this tower is so low as well.
I have a chin if we back.
Yeah.
Good though.
Maybe.
Their speed's up soon. They want to fight.
I'm
back up. Get my man.
I think.
Still just chill. Bonus right. Watch out, watch out.
Yeah, I got them both.
I
Really
really want to
careful,
back
do not let
now.
them fight you.
I'm kind of pulling it. Not on it.
Top and mid, top and mid. We have all actives, right?
Alright, can we just group up mid? Can we group up mid, guys?
Yeah, we should just go mid.
You should be. Joe, don't get caught.
Let them fight on us. Let them fight on us.
Yeah, can you get over after the wave, yo? They might kill you by the way.
Don't
Now, I can't predict the future. I thought we were going to see a big old team fight, but instead, we got to see some more of the behind-the-scenes stuff. Obey really setting up for this position in mid.
Absolutely. Chin size has now been complete for Ataraxia, which is why the Portal Demon was delayed. Nice stun onto Captain Twig. Arkill hitting him from a distance with that ricochet variety. Getting zoned away on the right side by Maniac's Sickle. Pretty Prime looking for the knockups, not going to find it by Ataraxia. He has the power spike. He's level 19 on this Rama, just now hitting level 20. The rest of Obey Alliance, they got the tier 1 mid. They're going for another one, though.
Yeah, Ataraxia with his items right now, just chewing through these towers like a pretzel stick, not able to really defend them whatsoever is Team Dignitas. Variety hanging out in the right wing. Obey going to be able to push forward. They see the back. They're able to push into the tower line, but Team Dignitas a little bit too scary. Hugo Fred chooses a target with that ultimate, and they're going to get lit up like a Christmas tree. So Obey Alliance playing it safe and sliding backwards.
With the backing from Trick's tank, it elected them to switch onto the Portal Demon instead of the tier 2 mid tower. Still flirting with the idea, looking for somebody that's out of position. Stun into the knockup variety, about half health already. The rest of Obey Alliance still committing towards this Portal Demon. The meditation was popped by Team Dignitas, and they're the ones that's constantly still leashing. The jungler from Dignitas wrapping around the right-hand side, but I think Captain Twig spotted him.
Yeah, Obey see them. There was a couple of basics fired in that direction by Ataraxia. There's the monkey toss, and the intoxicate used rather early. Ataraxia takes to the sky, finds one shot, immediately turns around to find the player in the back line. There's going to be the launch over the top from the mid lane mage. Not enough. Zero's his turn. Oh! That's going to be enough to send everybody up forward. No deaths just yet.
Pretty Prime, though, is saved by the meditation. Still buying some time. Variety up and down. It's
Fire
Giant knockup. Zig is so low. Arco goes down. Variety as well. Cuba Fred having to run zeros, buying time with that Aegis Amulet, able to dash into safety. 3 dead.
Zeros takes out Ataraxia through the wall. You ain't never safe with a mid lane mage like Thoth. The Portal Demon goes the way of Obey Alliance, as does the team fight. But Ataraxia in a rare moment of arrogance overstays his welcome and gets shut down by Zeros.
There's a lot of confidence from this hunter out of Obey Alliance, trying to prove a statement against a very confident team out of Team Dignitas. It could potentially cost him, though, if Cubo Fred manages to find this steal.
25% on the Fire Giant. Captain Twig, Pretty Prime still targeting it. Emilzy and Maniac trying to zone him out, and they successfully do so. Cubo got nothing on this one. Fire Giant goes to 4 members of Obey. Ataraxia will sit out for another 11 seconds, but Team Dignitas now 4,000 gold down with the Fire Giant on their enemy. This is, I think, still in the running, but definitely an uphill battle for Team Dig.
Absolutely. This game has just been so back and forth. That last engagement around the Fire Giant, I thought it was going to go the way of Dignitas, considering that one final judgment completely obliterated the life of Pretty Prime and Ataraxia, but playing off of each other, staying grouped up for that important meditation. Everyone from Obey Alliance started to get a little bit more healthy, playing off of one another, and then the front line from Team Dignitas started to collapse. Trick's tank got deleted. Variety had nowhere to go as well, considering his Eagles rally was used in position to get knocked up by the Fire Giant. That's one of those unfortunate sets of circumstances where you want to use your ultimate to stun out members, and then you can't always predict, though, when that knockup's happening.
That knockup by the Fire Giant was so important. That knockup by the Fire Giant was one of the best CCs of that whole engagement.
Fire Giant MVP in game number 5, 30 minutes into the game.
And it's not even, so a lot of times we make fun of the players for not being able to, you know, maneuver around that. That wasn't really the player's fault. That was just kind of Dignitas. They didn't play around that obstacle. That was just kind of rough.
Now with Fire Giant on 4 members from Obey Alliance for another 2.5 minutes. They're trying to get their first tier 2 tower in the game. The most important side of the duel lane, the furthest away from the Fire Giant. Dignitas could still hold this. The range from Zeros, utilizing that wall, extends his lane clear.
Walking forward, Obey trying to take this tower. Tower lightly poked down to about 60% as it's heavier. There's Captain Twig with the ultimate zoning out the opposition. Still, Tower alive for the moment, half HP. Ataraxia trying to find some kills, takes the objective. And there's going to be Pretty Prime taking out Tricks. Captain Twig takes out Cubo Fred as well. It's a 2 for none so far. Variety still trying to play defense as the tower stands. Baraxia finally finds the hole, and down it goes. Tier 2 tower, 1500 in the pocket for Obey.
The snipes yet again from the two former Titan members have been on point. They're hitting the same exact target. Tricks tank gets hit by all 3 Rama snipes and the Earth Shatter from the distance. Captain Twig did a great job initiating that in the Tier 2. Blink ulti, using that to force out the purification beads, also zoning so many members away to make it easier to siege that Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, there's a ton of long-range damage on the side of Obey. You made a great point about how they're focusing the same target. A target is called, Raxi goes to the sky, and everybody shoots him. And then, hopefully, they fall down. It's worked out the past couple of team fights.
Considering the build from Ataraxia, you have to capitalize off of his target. He has so much physical power with that build, that Transcendence spiking him up through the roof, just making sure that it scales even further as he's a level 20 Rama. Not to mention, Pretty Prime's ult hurts a little bit more.
6 to 12 as Obey are doubling Team Dignitas' kills here. It's an even 10,000 gold in the lead for Obey Alliance as we're just 2 minutes over the half-hour mark. These guys in blue absolutely want to take this one home. It's been a 5-game set, and we're in game number 5, Toli. Back and forth, have these games gone. Game number 5 was kind of a small little glimpse of what the rest of the series looked like, a microcosm, if you will, of the past 4 games. Now, it all comes down to this one. Obey look like they're ready to take this one out and be the victors of the spring split.
Still has to be really cautious because of the fear from the one-shot potential that Zeros can provide for Team Dignitas, which is why they don't go any further than that Tier 2 tower on the right side.
Portal.
Setting themselves up for the 2 objectives around the Fire Giant side. Having this kind of a lead in the gold department just recently gives them this amount of confidence that they could force this issue 5-on-5.
Yeah, Portal Demon here is going to go to Obey pretty much for free. Dignitas have no business really interrupting it. Well, actually, yes, they absolutely can. That left lane was pushed up decently enough. There's going to be about 1 or 2 more waves that they can afford to really be out of that lane. But they opt not to. Instead, the Portal Demon goes to Obey without a hitch. 12,000 gold in the lead now is Obey Alliance.
Fire Giant non-responding for another 12 seconds. They
Not
have
that
the
much.
tools. They have the tools necessary, but the vision is absolutely there up until Zeros, counter-warding it. Very nicely done over that speed buff because there's so many abilities that can be used around that corner or just positioning yourself around the corner waiting for unexpected Dignitas members.
Everybody here in Obey through the portal. 5 members strong. Team Dignitas local, but not likely to interrupt this Fire Giant successfully. Still, I'm of the idea that they should at least give it a shot. Maniac trying to zone out 3 separate players. Fire Giant already done. Team Dignitas way too late to the party. Obey successfully zone them out, take the Fire Giant. Dig looking like they want to fight, but I don't know if that's a smart move.
Maniac was zoning so well with his passive, the 16% damage reduction for the physical side, 8% magical, not to mention Captain Twig throughout his ultimate just to make it more difficult for any Dignitas members to get closer to that cave.
Rough stuff for Team Dignitas, who have put on a fantastic performance. This is the first set that they've dropped a game in all weekend, Toli.
It was due time, honestly. For a team to go undefeated at a LAN setting, we haven't had that happen, I think, since TSM won the launch tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been a number of years, at the very least, since we've seen a performance that dominant, and it will continue to be in that nature, as Obey Alliance seem to have been the ones to wrestle control of this game. Now in the lead, about 14,000 gold. And it just keeps inching up further as Obey pick up more and more of these objectives. Everything going in the direction of Obey.
The left side Phoenix has respawned for Team Dignitas. This could be the first siege, at least for the second Fire Giant out of Obey Alliance. It's a very easy Phoenix to knock down right off the bat, but there's still going to be one more Fire Minion wave that's going to be flooding down the left that Team Dignitas has to respond to, recognizing this. Obey Alliance instead elect to try to push down this middle Phoenix.
And it looks like it's going to be the case, but a nice jump in from Team Dignitas. Trying to counteract that. There's Captain Twig's ultimate. Arkel immunes too. Raxia realizes he's got to change his shot, so he does. Nice ultimate out of Variety, and there's trouble for Captain Twig, forced out stage south. Now Cubo Fred's in trouble. Maniac goes deep and takes out the jungler. Meanwhile, mid lane Firebird falls down. So does the left, that time due to Winions.
The Winions showing themselves again. Arkel getting the worst end of it. The right side Phoenix is the last remaining structure
for now.
Next to the Titan for Team Dignitas. They have to hold on to this. If they lose this Phoenix,
it's gone. It's already gone, Tully. It's already gone.
The Titan, though, is at the most vulnerable form. This is the latest game for Obey Alliance, minus the 3K pots that they can potentially pick up here. And trying to finish off their build for the last final push. They still have the buff for another minute and a half.
A baker's dozen for Obey Alliance. Just half of that for Team Dignitas as far as the kills are concerned. And that is certainly the way all relevant categories are going. 12,500 experience. 18.3 thousand gold. And everybody on the side of Obey sends their supports level 20. Meanwhile, the jungler and the support still have to catch up for Team Dignitas. Grouping up on the left side is Obey. They've backed for what could be the final time, and they're looking to make their march up what seems to be the mid lane.
It's looking so good for Obey Alliance. Just basically, you might as well just roll out the red carpet for them in this last and final game. Team Dignitas, they have to be looking for a needle in a haystack to win this one.
I like the way that Team Dignitas have played, and I think Dignitas are the more raw, the more just unrefined team, which sometimes works out in your favor. But here, Obey, the time they spent together, they've had time to really clean things up, and clean is what they're looking for. Nice ultimate out of the jungler. Cubo Fred trapped in a bad spot. Here's the jump forward from Emilzy. One shot, two shots, all he needs. Raxia racking him on up. Cubo Fred down for the count. 4 players remain. Trix Tank jumps forward. There's a nice ult from Variety, but he's turned and he's burned. Captain Twig making him learn. It's 2-2 right now, and Obey Alliance walk in, take the Titan, and they take the Spring. Obey Alliance are your Spring Masters champions.
Look how happy they are. Obey Alliance, congratulations for winning this Spring Split. Looking like a strong team, doesn't matter. Season 3, Season 4, Variety, no Variety. They got Maniac and Emilzy.
It's been a long time coming for this squad. They lined up and they said, look, we can do it. We've got a star solo laner. At the beginning of this year, their star solo laner